Alrighty, guys, we are about to start a new journey in the game journey, and I'm gonna do a rant on when my journey first started with gaming. Let's do this. This game's gorgeous, by the way. I've done one playthrough of it, but it was just kind of a quick playthrough, and I didn't really, get to experience the full game. So I'm gonna try and take it a little bit slower. I might do it in parts. I might do different rants throughout the whole thing, and um, so yeah. But so my first gaming experience probably would have been when I was a kid, and my uncle had an NES. For those of you that don't know, like the Nintendo, pretty much original Nintendo, um, and he had maybe 50 games, which was back then was a lot. Um, it was just becoming kind of a more common thing, and he ended up, his wife not liking him playing the thing or whatever, however that works, and him needing to work and interfering with work. Um, he ended up getting rid of, well, I think he got rid of one of his systems, and he ended up giving us, let's say he had 100 games, he gave us 50. So we ended up with almost half his games. He gave us some good ones, some not good ones. For anyone who was an NES player, some of the games we got, Dragon Warrior, Dynasty of an Emperor, uh, Mario, obviously the standard, uh, which was fantastic. That Duck Hunt game was amazing with the little laser gun, which I think I still have two of them, and I still have maybe two or three NESs from over the years. Maybe like my game collection's pretty much diminished. We used to have, like I said, maybe about 50 games and stuff that we bought along the way. So probably would have been a lot more than 50 games by the end of it, but we lost games or games broke or yada yada. There's games that I have that don't even work. Shockwave, or there were some really cool games, but um, yeah, there's just like that was where my gaming career, I guess, kind of started, because I've spent so much time gaming, and like the amount of games that I've played growing up in the 90s, because I was born in 93, and growing up I was exposed to the NES and then the N64, and then after the N64, and I remember we got our first one, and the game we decided to get, because me and my brother had a choice, like we could pick one game out, and of course we picked the iconic, like, Ocarina of Time Zelda, which was, I'd spent countless hours. You can imagine being that young, spending countless hours in the fucking water temple, which was a pain in the ass even coming back to it when I was in high school. Um, the first time playing through it again. But that game was way ahead of its time. Fantastic. It has to be the best Zelda game ever made. Some people would say Majora's Mask, but really, like, I'm a true and strong fan of Ocarina of Time. I think it was just a fantastic game. There's so much content in the game and so much to do that it was just a fantastic game. Um, then you have your 007, James Bond, another fantastic game. The first person shooter that was, even still to this day, playing it with my brother, playing it with, whoever, like any of the people that we played with originally. It's just fun. Like, it's still to the, like, a game's good when the technology is that outdated and you can go back and you still play it, because the fundamentals of the game and the way the game feels and plays out, it's just fantastic. Like, there's nothing you can, and the content too. The content back then with a lot of the games was more than they're putting out with PlayStation games or Xbox games today. Like, it was just fantastic. There was hours and hours. Like, I remember buying a game and it would keep you busy for weeks on end. Whereas now, like, some games I buy and I'm either over it, or completely done it with not much content left after maybe a week of hard playing, or sometimes less. Like, it depends on the game. Obviously, online games touched me in a totally different way, and that's kind of what I stick to now. I usually try and stick to the games that are online, and I like to be competitive and stuff like that. And that all started for me with Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike, for anyone who was playing Counter-Strike in the 90s, playing the Counter-Strike 1.5, 1.6, before Source, any of that, they know how the community was. I grew up as a kid, and in that game you could literally, well, I don't know if you could do it in 1. You might have been able to in 1.5. I'm pretty sure I saw my first pair of boobies in Counter-Strike. So that says something about the community. The community was just this, well, it was back then in the 90s. Everyone was about, the internet was so young, and you know, that's when Yahoo was, you know, a big search engine, and Google wasn't that big, and whatever, and all that stuff was going down, and there was, you heard all around the net of hackers this and hackers that, and it was kind of just like everyone was doing it. No one cared because the internet wasn't yet so so marketable. Like, there might have been a huge marketable aspect to the internet, but companies weren't taking advantage of it yet. It just wasn't something that was it just wasn't a thing yet. And as the internet progressed and as those games progressed, that changed. Like, the whole gaming community changed everything. And then on top you add social media, and then it was just like a boom. I'm sure the internet just saw a huge boom. And you know, should get back on topic of the actual games and stuff. So yeah, Counter-Strike, and then what else was there? StarCraft, Diablo 2. Like, these are games that anyone who was doing PC gaming at the time, you know, knows about, because they're just there, and they're the big games, and they stayed the biggest games for a very long time. Like Counter-Strike may have been the first game to actually pay players to play it. Maybe. I'm not, like, don't hold me to that, but it was definitely up there. Counter-Strike put esports on the map. So did StarCraft in a huge way. In Korea especially, like StarCraft showed what the potential of esports had, and Counter-Strike, with Counter-Strike Source, I know at one point players are making like $50,000 a year, and that's incredible. Like, if you think about it, like 50, and people might not even think about that as being much today, because professional gamers probably make a lot more than that, but back then, if you could make $50,000, you know, sitting at a computer or going to tournaments in Europe, and that's probably mostly Europe Counter-Strike players, but like, that was a huge deal back then. Same with StarCraft. That was a huge deal. That's the birth of esports right there. That's massive. And then a game that stood out hugely because I don't know what the hell this thing does. What the hell is up with this thing? I don't know what the fuck this is. Oh, Herp-a-derp. Herp-a-deedly-derp, Riley, Jesus. Rob Schneider is Journey. Okay, that was rough. Clearly I've had a long day. But yeah, so the next game I would say that kind of took off for me in a big way and took up a lot of my life, especially during high school and especially growing up, would have been World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, for me, I'm talking like level 60, were like the starting of World of Warcraft, the first time that an MMO became so fucking big. Like, World of Warcraft became something that was known across the world by people that didn't even game. Like, it put gaming out there just because it was so different from anything else anyone had ever made, and it was so good and flawless in what it did that it you can't compare. Like if you look at the amount of people that have played World of Warcraft that, you know, paid for subscriptions and that paid for expansions and so much, like just crazy. The amount of time played, the human population with World of Warcraft has to be just at a really gross factor. Like it just has to be disgusting. Because like even my own playtime, with the amount of characters, I wouldn't even want to look back. But World of Warcraft for me, growing up, became something that was first off addictive. It was the first game I can say that I was ever actually probably addicted to, like in a very strong way. And that went from raids to later when I grew up, I became more about the online play and the competitiveness and trying to learn how to outplay people in your gaming environment and stuff like that. And right now, that probably hooks me more than anything in the gaming world is being able to play versus people and read what they're gonna do and mark your actions accordingly and just outplay them. Just be a better player than they are. So ever since Counter-Strike, ever since World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Diablo even, and Diablo's a huge honorable mention. Diablo 2. I never played Diablo 1 much because we just didn't have it, but Diablo 2, I spent loads of time playing that too, and that game, as far as cinematics, as far as just everything that it had, music, the vibe playing it, the grunginess that, like, it's stuff that today Diablo 3 doesn't even have. A lot of the music, a lot of the whole feel of the game, the cinematics, the storyline, everything in Diablo 2 was just like the world was falling apart, and it was like the only game that I've ever really been excited about. Like with World of Warcraft, I never, and some people would be like, really, never. I never really got into like the whole lore and the whole storyline, and I just played World of Warcraft because the game content was so fucking good. That same thing with, like, I don't even know if Counter-Strike had a story. I pretty much just played Counter-Strike to blow people's heads off. But World of Warcraft, and this is probably just bounce around topic to topic, was probably the first game that put. That kind on the upload is gonna do another upload, but anyways, worry about that after. But World of Warcraft was the first game for me, I think, that really got me thinking about outplaying people and getting better on the multiplayer level, and that put that side of gaming totally on track for me. And ever since and if you look at a lot of the games I have too, I don't have a lot of games like Journey. I don't play a lot of games anymore because of the cinematic and like the whole feel of the game, because I've played so many games that, you know, that can only go so far for me anymore. Whereas I used to just play games for that. I just would get totally immersed in the storyline, and maybe it's that games don't have that type of content anymore where it draws me in, or maybe it's, I don't know. But I wonder if I can get up there now. Maybe I can. There might be another thing I can unlock, but but yeah, I don't think games have that effect on me anymore. It's more what games I can play with friends is a huge thing, and what games can I play competitively, because I really still like the idea, and I think I will always like the idea of jumping into a game and figuring out ways of thinking quicker and thinking better. Like, it's the same thing as if someone tries to get good at chess, trying to read your opponent, trying to set things up, checkers, Chinese, like any different board games. Like, gaming has become that way, especially with online play, of getting better, like working to make yourself better and